Welcome back to the Midnight Mind. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're new, and please give this video a like. It means a lot. It's midnight, and that means one thing. It's time to enter the mind of Machiavelli. Have you ever looked at someone and felt something was hidden behind their eyes? An intention, a motive, a quiet calculation they believed you would never notice? The truth is, people reveal themselves constantly. They reveal themselves in hesitation, in eagerness, in the way they shift their weight when they want something from you. Today, you'll discover how to see these signals clearly, not by guessing, not by intuition alone, but by using the timeless psychology embedded in Machiavelli's most uncomfortable yet piercingly accurate insights about human nature. Machiavelli understood something that most modern people refuse to accept. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. He wasn't speaking about deception alone. He was revealing a principle of perception. People show you who they are long before they tell you. Every gesture hides a motive. Every smile signals a desire or a fear. When you read others through this lens, you stop waiting for their words to catch up with their intentions. Their behaviour becomes a living text, and you become fluent in the language of human motive. To read anyone instantly, you must first abandon the comforting idea that people are consistent. They're not. People shift their mask depending on who stands before them, and Machiavelli believed this was natural, not malicious. When someone presents themselves as humble, generous, or harmless, you must look for the advantage that posture brings them. Every role people play is designed for an audience. So the real question becomes, what role are they performing for you? And what outcome do they hope their performance will create? Begin by observing the moment a person wants something. That moment is the purest window into their nature. Human beings reveal their deepest tendencies when desire sharpens their focus. You'll see the impatient lean forward, the cautious slow down, the ambitious inflate their confidence. Machiavelli saw desire as the engine that exposes character. When a person's goals collide with their limitations, their facade cracks. The mask slips, not during calm, but in the friction between yearning and frustration. Study that friction, and you'll see their authentic psychology emerge. Notice how people treat the powerless. The Machiavellian reader understands that character is best revealed in situations with no consequences. The polite co-worker who snaps at the waiter is not stressed. They are unmasked. The charming friend who becomes dismissive when others speak is not confident. They are insecure. This principle is ancient. Power exposes motive, but the absence of power exposes truth. If you want to read someone deeply, watch how they behave around those they gain nothing from. Their hierarchy of concern reveals their hierarchy of values. Study what makes a person uneasy. Anxiety is a spotlight on hidden intentions. Some people become tense when their competence is questioned. Others grow defensive when their authority fades. Some stiffen when their stories are challenged. These reactions are not flaws, they are signals. Machiavelli viewed fear as one of the most reliable windows into the human mind. When you notice where someone feels threatened, you learn what they cherish most. Status, control, admiration, certainty. Their fear maps their priorities, and their priorities expose what they will eventually fight, defend, or betray. A powerful Machiavellian technique is to observe contradictions between words and actions. People announce who they aspire to be, but they behave according to who they are. Someone may insist they value honesty, yet hide simple mistakes. Another may claim loyalty, yet nature private resentment. Machiavelli would advise you to trust the action, never the declaration. A person's words are crafted for perception. Their actions are driven by instinct. When you see the gap between the two, you gain access to their internal conflict. And that conflict tells you far more than their ideals. Watch for what people repeat. Repetition is the fingerprint of unconscious motive. A man who continually boasts is revealing an insecurity that no amount of praise will soothe. A woman who repeatedly apologizes is exposing a lifetime of learned appeasement. The friend who always plays the victim is signalling their preferred role in every conflict. People repeat behaviours that serve them in some psychological way. Machiavelli would tell you that human nature is not defined by single actions, but by persistent patterns. Find the pattern, and you find the person. Another key principle is to see how people respond to boundaries. When you say no, even gently, you expose the hidden architecture of their temperament. A mature person accepts limits without hostility. An entitled person bristles, bargains, or becomes cold. A manipulative person pivots to guilt or charm. Machiavelli believed that boundaries were stress tests for character. If someone pushes harder each time you reinforce your line, you're not dealing with misunderstanding, you're dealing with intention. Boundaries reveal not only respect, but also a person's long-term strategy for getting what they want. To read someone instantly, listen to what they emphasize. Most people telegraph their insecurities through exaggeration. The man who constantly reminds you he is trustworthy is afraid you will uncover a contradiction. A colleague who repeats how busy they are wants you to equate busyness with importance. In Machiavellian terms, emphasis is a form of misdirection. People over-polish the traits they think you might doubt. When you hear repetition in self-description, view it as a signal, not of strength, but of fear. Their emphasis highlights where they feel most fragile. Finally, observe silence. What people avoid reveals more than what they express. Some avoid discussing past relationships because their patterns would become obvious. Some evade conversations about responsibility because it threatens their self-image. Others grow vague around success because the story they want to project is stronger than the truth. Silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. Machiavelli believed that humans conceal their vulnerabilities with great effort, but the spaces they leave blank, their omissions, draw the outline of their true nature. To read someone deeply, study what they choose to hide. To read others with precision, you must begin with the simplest principle. People are always moving towards something, whether it's approval, power, validation, comfort, or control. Human behaviour is directional. When you identify the direction a person consistently leans, their intentions stop becoming mysterious. You no longer interpret their behaviour moment by moment. You see the trajectory. Machiavelli understood that a person's nature is revealed through their pursuits, not their promises. When you track where someone is walking, not where they claim to be going, you gain an advantage that most never recognise. Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." This was not cynicism. It was a recognition that circumstances mould behaviour more than ideas do. People shift when the environment changes, and their adjustments reveal their deeper loyalties. Watch how someone's tone, stance, or priorities change under new conditions. Stress, opportunity, scarcity, abundance. These shifts reveal what anchors them and what can pull them off balance. When the world changes, their internal compass becomes visible, and so does their true psychology. A practical technique is to examine what someone protects. Human beings defend what they fear losing, and they defend it instinctively. When someone guards their reputation obsessively, you're dealing with a person ruled by external judgment. When someone guards their independence, you're witnessing a fear of vulnerability. When someone guards their image of goodness, you're seeing a shadow they cannot accept. Machiavelli viewed protection as an emotional fortress. The walls someone builds around themselves tell you what they treasure, what they dread, and what they will sacrifice to preserve their identity. Pay attention to the speed of someone's reactions. Quick emotional responses are rarely strategic. They are raw impulses slipping through the cracks of self-control. If someone becomes irritated instantly, you're seeing long-standing frustrations. If they light up with enthusiasm at the smallest praise, you're witnessing a hunger for approval. Thoughtful people pause. Reactive people reveal. Machiavelli believed that reaction is a glimpse into someone's instinctive state. The faster the reaction, the more authentic the motive. Over time, you'll notice the emotional speed is a diagnostic tool for understanding temperament. A powerful method is to observe what someone exaggerates about others. When a person accuses everyone of selfishness, it is often they who conceal self-interest. When they insist that others are disloyal, they quietly fear their own instability. Machiavelli understood projection long before psychology gave it a name. The criticisms people repeat are often rehearsals of their own inner conflicts. Their complaints are emotional confessions delivered sideways. When you study what someone cannot stop condemning, you uncover the parts of themselves they struggle to confront. Another effective technique is to see how people respond when they believe no one is watching. Machiavelli would say that solitude is the truest mirror of a person's nature. Observe subtle actions. The employee who becomes careless when the boss leaves the room. The partner whose warmth evaporates when attention fades. The friend who only behaves generously when there is an audience. These are not anomalies, they are revelations. Privacy strips away performance. If you want to know someone's character, notice who they become in the quiet, unguarded pockets of daily life. To read someone instantly, study how they treat your time. Time is the most universal currency, and people reveal their valuation of you by how they interact with it. The one who always cancels values convenience above consistency. The one who always arrives early seeks approval or fears rejection. The one who is chronically late often prioritizes their narrative over your reality. Machiavelli would interpret punctuality not as politeness, but as a marker of hierarchy. When you track how someone handles your time, you discover how they position you in their mental landscape. Notice what people take credit for. Success exposes ego more than failure does. When someone rushes to claim praise, they reveal a hunger for recognition. When they minimize their role, they reveal humility or a fear of visibility. Machiavelli believed ambition was the great revealer, and ambition always leaks out in how people talk about their achievements. If a person consistently frames themselves as the hero of every story, they're telling you what they desperately want to be. And if they downplay everything, they're showing you the weight they quietly carry. Pay attention to strategic kindness. Machiavelli never dismissed kindness as false. He simply believed that it often has a function. When someone is kind only to those above them, you're seeing aspiration. When they're kind only to those who can offer nothing in return, you're seeing principle. And when they're kind to everyone except those who challenge them, you're seeing fragility disguised as charm. Kindness reveals motive through its direction. Look at whom a person chooses to uplift. Their pattern of generosity maps the architecture of their values. To read someone deeply, you must study the contradictions they cannot explain. A person who preaches detachment yet panics at minor losses. A person who claims to be logical yet erupts emotionally during disagreement. These contradictions are not failures, they are clues. Machiavelli believed that the human mind is a conflict between desire and fear, ambition and caution, image and reality. When you see contradictions, you're not seeing hypocrisy, you're seeing a psyche in tension. Another powerful sign is how someone behaves when given small amounts of power. You don't need to witness them ruling a kingdom. Let them manage a meeting, lead a project, host a gathering. If they become controlling instantly, they have lived their lives feeling small. If they become generous, they feel secure. If they become arrogant, they have long dreamed of an audience. Machiavelli believed power was the purest stimulant of character. When authority amplifies a person's nature rather than altering it, you know you're seeing who they have always been. If you want to read people instantly, learn to observe the stories they tell about themselves. Human beings live inside narratives. Some cast themselves as heroes who overcame unfairness. Others as victims surrounded by enemies. Some as rebels fighting invisible constraints. These stories are not decorations. They are identities. Machiavelli understood that a person's self-narrative guides their decisions far more than their circumstances do. When you decode the story someone repeats, you understand the lens through which they interpret the world. And once you know their lens, their future actions stop being unpredictable. Understand that reading others is not about judgment, it is about clarity. When you begin to see people as collections of motives, patterns, fears, ambitions, projections and performances, everything becomes simpler. Machiavelli was never teaching manipulation. He was teaching awareness. When you read others, you navigate life with precision instead of confusion. You stop being surprised by betrayal. You stop misreading loyalty. You stop mistaking performance for sincerity. And in that clarity, you gain what Machiavelli valued most: the ability to act with intention in a world driven by hidden motives. The ultimate lesson is this: people are readable because human nature is consistent. Desire leaves footprints. Fear creates shadows. Ambition produces echoes. Every person reveals themselves to the eyes that know how to look. When you develop this skill, the world becomes transparent. But transparency brings responsibility. You must decide what to do with what you see. Reading others is a form of power, and power always comes with a moral weight. Use it with vigilance. Use it with strength. Use it to navigate the quiet battlefield of human motives with integrity. And so the journey ends with a reminder. You are not meant to control others. You are meant to understand them. When you can read anyone instantly, you move through life with the confidence of someone who sees beneath the surface. Machiavelli never promised comfort. He promised clarity. The world is filled with masks, but very few are opaque. If you pay attention, the truth is always there. The herd will remain blind. The ambitious will continue to reveal themselves. But you, armed with insight, can walk through the shadows with open eyes. If you have any thoughts on today's episode, I'd love to hear them. Leave me a message in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.